Have you ever felt like you were loving someone from the sidelines? Like your feelings were a quiet hum in the background, easily ignored, easily overlooked. That was Ilara. For years, her love for Liam was a gentle, unassuming thing. It was in the coffee she made for him every morning, exactly how he liked it. It was in the way she'd listen for hours about his stressful day at the office, offering quiet nods and patient smiles. It was in the sweaters she'd buy him, knowing his favorite colors and the softest materials. Her love was a silent language, spoken in actions, not words. She believed that one day he would see it. He would turn around and finally notice the depth of the ocean of affection she held just for him. She thought her quiet devotion was a virtue, a testament to her patience and unwavering heart. But quiet things can be easily mistaken for nothing at all. To Liam, Ilara was a comfortable presence, a constant in his life as reliable as the sunrise. He appreciated her in the same way one appreciates a sturdy chair or a familiar old blanket. He never considered the vibrant, complex world of emotion that existed just beneath her calm surface. He saw her as his anchor, his safe harbor, but he never truly saw her. She was part of the scenery of his life, not the masterpiece he should have been admiring. And for a long, long time, Ilara accepted this. She told herself that being his comfort was enough. That this quiet, one-sided devotion was a form of love, too. The cracks started small. It began with a forgotten birthday. Not a big party, just a simple dinner she had planned. She'd spent all day cooking his favorite meal. The table was set, a single candle waiting to be lit, but Liam called late, his voice rushed. He was out with friends from work, celebrating a new contract. He'd completely forgotten. "Sorry, Ellie," he said, the nickname feeling like a pat on the head. "We'll do something this weekend, promise." The weekend came and went, buried under his other plans. The silence in their apartment that night was different. It wasn't her comfortable, loving silence anymore. It was heavy, hollow. It was the sound of a small piece of her heart breaking. Then there were the little dismissals. She'd try to share a story about her day at the little bookstore where she worked, her eyes lighting up about a rare first edition she'd found. He'd nod, his gaze fixed on the TV screen, offering a distracted, "That's nice." "Hun." Her opinions on movies were met with a chuckle, her dreams of traveling to Scotland dismissed as a cute little fantasy. Each time, it was like a tiny pinprick to her soul. She started to feel invisible, like a ghost in her own life. The quiet love she had nurtured for so long began to feel less like a gentle stream and more like a cage she had built for herself, bar by invisible bar. She started observing other couples. She saw men who looked at their partners as if they held the entire universe in their eyes. She heard conversations filled with laughter, mutual respect, and genuine curiosity. She saw hands held not out of habit, but out of a deep, tangible need to be close. She saw partners who were also best friends, who championed each other's dreams, no matter how big or small. And with each observation, the quiet in her own heart grew louder, more insistent. It was no longer a peaceful hum. It was a roar of everything she was missing, everything she deserved. She realized her love wasn't just quiet, it was silenced. The turning point wasn't a dramatic explosion. It was a quiet Tuesday morning. Liam was rushing around, looking for his favorite tie. "Ellie, have you seen my blue striped one? The one you got me? I have a huge presentation today." Ilara stood by the window, watching the rain fall. She didn't move. She simply said, "No." It was a small word, but it hung in the air with the weight of 1,000 unspoken feelings. Liam stopped, surprised. "What do you mean, no? You always know where my things are." He looked at her then, truly looked at her, for the first time in what felt like forever. He didn't see the comfortable, reliable Ellie. He saw a stranger. She turned from the window, and her eyes, usually so soft and accommodating, were clear and steady. "I'm not your keeper, Liam. I'm not your assistant, or your mother, or your maid. I thought I was your partner." Her voice wasn't loud, it was filled with a strength he had never heard before. It was the voice of a woman who had finally found her own sound. Liam was speechless. He saw the coffee on the counter, untouched. He saw the packed suitcase by the door. And he finally understood. The quiet was over. "Where are you going?" he asked, a tremor of panic in his voice. The comfortable foundation of his world was cracking. "I'm going to find out," she said. It was a simple, honest answer. She wasn't going to a new lover or running away to some dramatic new life. She was going to find herself, the person she had put on a shelf while she spent all her energy loving him. She was going to listen to her own thoughts, pursue her own dreams, and learn to speak her own language of love, first and foremost. To herself, she picked up her suitcase. There were no tears, no shouting, just the quiet, resolute click of the door shutting behind her. The silence that followed her departure was the loudest thing Liam had ever heard. It was the absence of her quiet footsteps, the absence of her gentle presence, the absence of a love he had taken for granted until it was gone. He stood alone in the apartment that was suddenly just a house, filled with things she had chosen, things that reminded him of her. He finally saw her everywhere. In the books on the shelves, in the scent of her favorite flowers, in the deafening, crushing quiet. He finally saw the masterpiece, but the gallery was empty. Elara's journey wasn't about revenge or making Liam regret his actions. It was about rediscovery. She took that trip to Scotland. She hiked through misty highlands and felt a sense of freedom she'd never known. She opened her own small cafe, a place filled with books and the smell of fresh coffee, where people came to talk and to listen. She learned to love the sound of her own laughter. Her love was no longer a quiet, self-sacrificing thing. It became vibrant, expressive, and joyous. It was in the way she greeted her customers and the passion she had for her work, and in the deep, meaningful friendships she built. She learned that true love doesn't require you to be quiet. It asks you to be your fullest, most authentic self. Her story is a reminder that the most important voice you can ever listen to is your own. Sometimes the quiet has to end so that you can finally begin to live. Thanks for watching.